Hello. Today we'll be joined by Leonardo Del Vecchio, the CEO of one of the biggest brands in the world. A little bit about this brand. Luxottica is a large company which makes optic-related things such as sunglasses and frames for big firms including Prada, Chanel, Dolce & Gabbana, Versace, Burberry, Ralph Lauren, Tiffany, Bulgari, Vogue, Persol, Coach, DKNY, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and many retailers including Sunglasses Hut, LensCrafters, Oliver's People, Pearle Vision, Target Opticals, and Sears Optical. This massive company controls approximately 85% of both industries, being optic wear and frames and sunglasses. Because it controls so many prominent brands, it is what economists call a price maker. Having control over such a variety means Luxottica can meticulously engineer the prices of different brands to encourage you to pay more than what is rational. Therefore, it is creating what is known as a fake diversity. Also, prior to merging, Luxottica itself had 65% of the total revenue of the market. After merging with one of the biggest optic companies in the world, it is now even bigger than before. Hello, Mr. Del Vecchio.
Hello.
Alright, so Mr. Del Vecchio, today it would be quite beneficial if we could tackle one of the consumers' biggest complaints. So the consumer's complaint has been the fact that there have been soaring prices in the optic and sunglasses products lately. And to better understand our problem, I would like to give the example of Ray-Ban. So before Luxottica, your company, bought Ray-Ban, you could buy a pair of sunglasses for $10, whereas now you could buy the ultimately exact same pair, but for $210. So, how is your company controlling the sunglasses and optic wear market? And would you say that you are a monopoly? I mean, with having control over 85% of the industry and having owned 65% of the total revenue in the market, and being price makers, which allow you to set prices so high, wouldn't you say that your company is a monopoly?
I would say our company is not a monopoly at all. Because there is a lot of competitor in the market that have the same product with us. I would say the market like Walmart or Costco or some online store, they are all our competitor. So we are not a monopoly. And also the sunglasses is really expensive. They can, but it is one of a few objects that are 100% functional, and they need to fit your face for 15 hours per day. It is not easy, and it is a lot of work behind it.
Alright, so Mr. Del Vecchio, would you say that with the existence of, you are saying that you guys have a lot of competitors, but if we look at your merging, which was actually one of the biggest mergers in European history, with Essilor, which was prior to merging with you, they were one of the biggest companies in optic wear. Wouldn't you say that you are now gaining even more control and that this shows that you guys are expanding into being a complete monopoly?
I would say no. We're just trying to improve our quality of the product. And as I said, I think we are not a part of a monopoly. I would say we are at the part of the monopolistic competition.
All right. So now that we have got it down that you guys are a monopolistic competition, we are going to look at their market structure and see whether or not they really are a monopolistic competition.
Okay, so the graph reflected our market structure, which is monopolistic. There's a three lines. The bottom one is the marginal cost. So it is the cost added by producing one additional unit of a product or service. And the one across the marginal cost is average cost. The average cost is the per unit cost of producing a good or service in the long run when all inputs under the control of the firm are variable. And the average cost, as we are a monopolist competition, the average revenue is the same as the demand curve. So the average revenue is the per unit loss for the analysis of the Luxottica's revenue generation and growth at the per unit level, which can help us investors and managers to identify which products are high or low revenue generators.
In the long run, the situation here is a little like perfect competition where there are many small sellers. When economic profits were being earned, this created an incentive for new firms to join the market, as everybody would have liked the benefit of enjoying profits. When this happens, usually an individual's firm's demand will fall, which means that both the price and output of the firm lower. However, this did not happen with Luxottica, as it still maintained its abnormal profits. Analyzing this graph further, we can see that Luxottica is not productively efficient, which is concerned with producing goods and services with the optimal combination of inputs to produce maximum output for the minimum cost, which is similar to the case of a monopoly. We can conclude this as Luxottica is not producing where marginal cost is equal to average cost. Once again, like a monopoly, this firm can restrict its supply to the market because consumers are brand loyal and they are willing to pay slightly more for the good or service, as they have been doing for a long time. Therefore, we can conclude that Luxottica is not allocatively efficient either, by seeing that it does not produce where marginal cost is equal to the average revenue or demand.
So the benefit of Luxottica company as a monopolistic competition, the fashion houses sending sketches of their new collections as the inspiration down on the factory floor. You can see the work that goes into the differentiating the brands. The glasses is really fashion for people to wear in nowadays. Maybe a few years ago, the glasses is not that fashion as people to wear outside. But now, we design the sunglasses as a fashion that people can wear it every day as a jewelry. And the plain plastic temples go through our painting machines and comes out Versace stones are inserted one by one into the Dolce & Gabbana, and leather is carefully started for that. So the glasses is a high quality for people to wear 50 hours per day, and the design is not easy to make, and this is a good quality for people. And I will explain why don't we combine everything into the one name, and it is because I think people love diversities, and people love to have different brands, and people love to have the different experience. So these are the benefits for the Luxottica company that design the sunglasses.
Despite the great advantages that come as to having a company be a part of a monopolistic competition, such as diversity, there are also many disadvantages that surprisingly arise due to these advantages. The biggest disadvantage of monopolistic competition has to do with the fact that companies will try to add on extra features and will end up charging more than what is fair from consumers for the sake of differentiating their products. The second disadvantage of monopolistic competition is that companies will add on irrelevant features to their products instead of focusing on improving the basic product itself, and will therefore again charge more from the consumers than what is fair. The last disadvantage that comes with having a firm be a part of a monopolistic competition is that in a monopolistic competition, the firms will spend way too much money on advertising and will try to compensate for these expenses from the consumers. And so this can result in even higher prices. Therefore, this is the answer to our problem, which was what is the reason behind these soaring prices for optic wear. Companies, due to advertising and differentiation, companies will have to compensate for these expenses through higher prices, charging higher prices from consumers. Looking at the pros and the cons of having a firm be a part of the monopolistic competition side of the spectrum, we must now try and come up with solutions as to regarding the negative aspects of our firm. So, Mr. Del Vecchio, as we have discussed, most of the problems are due to the fact that you are charging great amounts of money from the consumers, and due to consumers' brand loyalty, they are willing to pay that much. However, this is not exactly beneficial for the consumers. Now, Mr. Del Vecchio, do you think that one of the solutions to this problem could be that you could try discounting your sunglasses at certain special times of the year, something festive perhaps, or perhaps trying to spend less on advertisement as your brand is quite well known already? Don't you think that maybe decreasing the amount of advertising would result in happier consumers?
Yeah, it's true. Like we can decrease our advertising to decrease the amount of money for charge on the sunglasses. So it is possible for us to less advertising.
And Mr. Del Vecchio, what are your thoughts on becoming productively and allocatively efficient?
Okay, so now our market is the marginal cost equals the marginal revenue, and later in the future we will look more on the marginal cost equals average cost, and marginal cost equals the average revenue.
In conclusion, we can conclude by looking at Luxottica's structure that it is part of the monopolistic competition because there's the existence of many sellers and with similar but differentiated products. However, Luxottica is different in a sense that it controls more than what is considered normal for a monopolistic competition. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Are expanding into being a complete monopoly?
Do you have noodles? I think I do.
Spicy?
Yeah, really spicy.
We are going to look at their market structure and see whether or not they really are a monopolistic competition. That was...
You did it?